Happiness reveals people more than sadness ever will. When you're struggling, broken, confused, or failing, most people feel comfortable around you. Your pain makes them feel emotionally safe because it doesn't challenge their own life. But the moment you start healing, smiling, improving, becoming confident, something strange begins to happen. Certain people slowly change. Their energy becomes colder. Their support feels forced. Their compliments sound fake. Some become distant. Others secretly criticize you. And the terrifying part is, many people who claim to care about you are emotionally disturbed by your happiness in ways they themselves don't even fully understand. Tonight, you're going to understand one of the darkest truths about human psychology: why some people hate seeing you happy. Because once you understand the hidden psychology behind jealousy, insecurity, emotional projection, and human ego, you will never look at relationships the same way again. Human beings constantly compare themselves to others, even unconsciously. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. The brain naturally measures personal value by observing the lives, emotions, achievements, and experiences of other people. This means your happiness does not exist in isolation. The moment someone sees you emotionally thriving, their brain automatically compares your emotional state to theirs. And if they feel unhappy, insecure, lonely, unsuccessful, or emotionally broken internally, your happiness can unintentionally trigger emotional discomfort inside them. This is why some people become strangely cold when your life improves. Your happiness reminds them of everything they are lacking emotionally. Your confidence exposes their insecurity. Your healing exposes their emotional wounds. Your peace highlights their inner chaos. And because the human ego hates feeling inferior, many people unconsciously react negatively toward those who appear emotionally fulfilled. The disturbing part is that most people don't consciously realize they're doing this. Human beings are emotional creatures controlled by subconscious feelings more than logic. Someone may genuinely believe they support you while secretly feeling emotional discomfort watching you succeed, heal, or become happier than them. This internal conflict creates passive-aggressive behavior, fake support, emotional distance, subtle criticism, or hidden resentment. One of the darkest truths about human nature is that many people secretly feel emotionally connected to your suffering. Pain creates familiarity. When you're broken, insecure, anxious, or struggling, certain individuals feel psychologically safer around you because your emotional state keeps the relationship balanced. Your weakness protects their ego. Your self-doubt makes them feel stronger. Your sadness makes their own life feel less painful by comparison. But the moment you begin healing, everything changes. Suddenly, you're no longer emotionally dependent. You stop seeking constant validation. You become more confident, more independent, more emotionally stable. And this transformation threatens people who were psychologically comfortable with the older version of you. Some people only know how to connect through pain. Trauma bonding is a real psychological phenomenon. Many relationships are built not on genuine emotional growth, but on shared suffering, insecurity, negativity, gossip, or emotional dependency. When one person starts emotionally evolving while the other remains psychologically stuck, the relationship becomes unstable. Your growth unintentionally forces others to confront their own emotional stagnation. And unfortunately, not everyone wants to confront themselves. This is why happiness can make certain people uncomfortable. Your joy becomes a mirror reflecting the emotional emptiness they try to avoid. Instead of asking themselves why they feel unhappy internally, some individuals project negativity onto you. Projection psychology explains that humans often transfer uncomfortable emotions onto others instead of facing them directly. Someone unhappy with their own life may begin criticizing your happiness because attacking you temporarily distracts them from their own emotional pain. There's also another painful psychological truth. Some people become emotionally attached to being needed. They enjoy comforting you, rescuing you, or feeling emotionally superior to you. But when you become happier, stronger, or emotionally independent, they lose that psychological role in your life. And without realizing it, they begin feeling less important around you. This is why certain relationships weaken after personal growth. The connection was never built on mutual emotional health. It was built on imbalance. The human ego plays a massive role in this behavior. Most people want to feel special, important, attractive, intelligent, or emotionally valuable. But seeing someone else become happier can unconsciously threaten that self-image. If another person becomes more confident, more successful, more loved, or more emotionally fulfilled, insecure individuals may interpret your happiness as evidence of their own inadequacy. And because the ego desperately avoids feeling inferior, people often react in subtle but toxic ways. They minimize your achievements, ignore your growth, mock your happiness, bring up your past mistakes, or emotionally withdraw from you completely. Sometimes the hatred isn't loud. Sometimes it hides behind silence. One of the most painful realizations in life is understanding that not everyone who smiles at you wants to see you win emotionally. Some people enjoy access to your energy, but not your evolution. They support your dreams only when they remain fantasies. They support your healing only while it stays small enough not to intimidate them. But real happiness changes energy. Confident people move differently. Emotionally healed people communicate differently. Happy people radiate psychological freedom. And freedom intimidates emotionally trapped individuals. Psychology also reveals something terrifying about emotional familiarity. Human beings are subconsciously attracted to patterns that feel emotionally normal to them. Someone raised around negativity, criticism, emotional instability, or toxic environments may unconsciously feel uncomfortable around genuine happiness and peace because it feels unfamiliar. Chaos feels emotionally natural to them. Stability feels suspicious. This explains why some individuals sabotage healthy relationships, reject peace, or create unnecessary conflict. Their nervous system became psychologically attached to emotional chaos. Watching someone else live peacefully can trigger confusion, envy, or emotional irritation because it contradicts their internal emotional conditioning. Social media has intensified this psychological problem dramatically. People are now constantly exposed to curated images of happiness, beauty, success, luxury, relationships, and emotional perfection. This endless comparison damages self-worth. Human beings begin measuring their lives against unrealistic standards every single day. And when someone from their personal life appears genuinely happy, the comparison feels even more personal. This is why many people secretly struggle to celebrate others. Your happiness reminds them of the happiness they believe they lost, failed to achieve, or never experienced. Another disturbing psychological truth is that misery often seeks company. Emotionally unhappy individuals sometimes unconsciously pull others down because shared negativity creates emotional validation. If everyone around them feels miserable too, they avoid feeling isolated in their suffering. But when one person escapes emotionally and begins healing, it disrupts the emotional environment. Your healing becomes proof that change is possible. And for people unwilling to change themselves, that truth feels threatening. There's also the psychology of emotional hierarchy. In many relationships, there are invisible emotional roles. One person is seen as weaker, sadder, less attractive, less successful, or less confident. These unconscious roles create emotional balance between people. But when someone suddenly improves mentally, physically, emotionally, or financially, the hierarchy changes. And humans struggle psychologically when familiar power dynamics shift. This is why people sometimes become uncomfortable after your glow-up, healing journey, success, or emotional transformation. They were emotionally attached to the version of you that made them feel secure about themselves. Another reason some people hate seeing you happy is unresolved envy. Envy differs from jealousy psychologically. Jealousy fears losing something. Envy wants what another person possesses emotionally or materially. But many people feel ashamed admitting envy because it conflicts with their self-image as good, supportive individuals. So instead of admitting envy, the emotion transforms into criticism, passive aggression, gossip, emotional distance, or fake concern. And fake concern is one of the most dangerous forms of hidden resentment. Some people disguise negativity as advice. They question your decisions, doubt your confidence, warn you about becoming too happy or too confident. But beneath the surface, the real discomfort comes from your emotional growth changing the way they feel about themselves. There's another heartbreaking reality most people discover too late. Some individuals genuinely preferred the broken version of you because broken people are easier to control emotionally. Pain lowers boundaries. Insecurity increases dependency. Low self-worth makes manipulation easier. But happiness creates independence. Self-love creates emotional strength. Confidence creates boundaries. And emotionally manipulative people struggle when they can no longer emotionally control someone. This is why toxic individuals often react negatively when you begin healing. Your happiness removes their psychological power over you. Success and happiness are also deeply connected psychologically. The moment someone sees you emotionally thriving, they often assume your entire life is perfect. Humans rarely see the invisible pain behind another person's smile. They only see visible confidence, visible peace, visible improvement. This creates distorted assumptions. People begin believing you no longer deserve empathy, support, or compassion because your life appears emotionally better than theirs. Ironically, happiness can emotionally isolate people. The more emotionally stable someone becomes, the more disconnected they sometimes feel from emotionally unhealthy environments. Conversations become shallow. Negativity becomes exhausting. Gossip becomes meaningless. Emotional drama becomes unattractive. And this creates natural distance between emotionally evolving individuals and people still psychologically attached to chaos. But maybe the darkest truth of all is this. Some people hate seeing you happy because your happiness proves they are responsible for their own unhappiness. As long as everyone around them remains miserable, they can blame life, circumstances, trauma, or bad luck. But when someone else heals, grows, and creates peace despite pain, excuses become harder to maintain. Your happiness becomes evidence that emotional transformation is possible, and not everyone is ready to accept that responsibility. Psychology also shows that emotionally secure people react very differently to your happiness. Secure individuals feel inspired rather than threatened. They celebrate your growth genuinely because they do not measure their worth against yours. They understand abundance emotionally. Someone else's happiness does not reduce their own potential for joy. This difference reveals emotional maturity more than almost anything else. Emotionally mature people can admire others without feeling inferior. Emotionally insecure people interpret another person's happiness as personal failure. One of the strongest signs of emotional intelligence is the ability to genuinely celebrate others without comparison. But unfortunately, many humans are still psychologically trapped inside ego, insecurity, trauma, and emotional conditioning. And understanding this changes the way you experience relationships forever. You stop taking every emotional shift personally. You stop begging for support from emotionally conflicted people. You stop shrinking your happiness to protect insecure individuals. You stop apologizing for healing. Because the truth is, your happiness was never the real problem. Your happiness simply revealed emotions people were already hiding beneath the surface. And maybe the most important thing to understand is this. Never let someone else's discomfort convince you to dim your light. Some people will misunderstand your growth because they are emotionally attached to your past. Some will resent your peace because they are addicted to chaos. Some will secretly envy your healing because they refuse to heal themselves. But none of that means you should return to sadness just to make others comfortable. Real happiness is rare in this world. Genuine peace is rare. Emotional healing is rare. And anyone who truly loves you will never punish you for becoming emotionally healthy. The frightening reality is that human psychology is deeply complicated. People crave love but compete emotionally. They want connection but compare constantly. They seek happiness but feel threatened when others find it first. And once you truly understand these psychological patterns, you stop blaming yourself for the strange behavior people show after your life begins improving. Because happiness doesn't just change your emotions. It reveals the hidden emotional reality of the people around you.